Another thing I want to talk about as it relates to IFR, since we're on an IFR flight plan, is a concept I call, not a concept I call, it's something I ask my students when I fly with them.
And 3 Bravo Charlie, turn right heading 330.
I always ask them periodically throughout the flight, are you on a direct 2 right now?
Stationair 15 Golf, flight heading 110.
110, 15 Golf. So I'm looking 110 to my left, so I'm moving this to the left. There's 110. So before I move my bug, I look at my HSI, I find the number he wants me to turn to, and then I move the heading bug to it. Takes an extra second, but it throws your situational awareness way high. So keep that, try that. Anyhow, direct 2s or radar vectors, what I periodically ask my students when we fly together is randomly I'll say, are you currently on a direct 2 or on radar vectors? And what I mean by that when it comes to IFR is, are you currently tracking direct to a waypoint or VOR, whatever it might be, or are you maintaining a heading? And the reason I ask that question is if you...
15 Golf, descend to maintain 9,000.
Descend to maintain 9,000, 15 Golf. So I'm lowering the floor. There's 9,000. Vertical speed. Here comes 500 feet a minute. I'll verify the plane is indeed descending.
County Fire 12 SoCal, perpendicular altimeter 29901.
So if you think about IFR, you're always either on direct 2s or radar vectors. Always. Anytime you're on an IFR flight plan, you're always on a direct 2 or radar vectors. You're always on direct 2 or radar vectors. And the reason I ask my students that is because I think I'm huge on situational awareness. And one of the things that you'll find will increase your situational awareness as it relates to IFR tremendously is simply asking yourself and being aware at any given moment during the flight, am I currently on a direct 2 or on radar vectors? So for instance, I was direct Barry a moment ago, but guess what? I'm currently on radar vectors. He's giving me a heading to maintain 110. The more you could ask yourself that question throughout the flight, and the more you could accurately answer it, your situational awareness will go completely up, and you'll also be able to know there won't be any questions, there won't be confusion anymore. Meaning, if I were to, I'll give you an example where it's really, really helpful. The ears. I'll give you an example where that's really helpful. If we were tracking direct Barry as we were, and direct Barry was...
Stationair 15 Golf, turn right heading 140.
Right turn 140, Golf. Direct Barry, the track was 19 or 2. So if I was direct Barry, right, meaning in nav mode, and he said stationair 15 Golf,
2476, turn right
maintain a heading of 19 or 2. So what that meant would be continue tracking towards Barry, meaning don't change your course or your heading, assuming there was no wind, right, no wind correction angle, because on a heading on radar vectors, wind correction is on them. But assuming there was no wind, I was heading 192 and I was going direct Barry, tracking Victor 201. If he, while going direct Barry, said, hey, 15 Golf, maintain heading of 1902, all I would do in that case was sync the heading bug or go to 1902 and then transition the heading. In that moment, I transitioned from direct 2,
124.9er.
24.9er, thanks, so 125 Golf. And approach stationair 1215 Golf, 9,700, descending 9,000, heading 140.
Stationair 1215 Golf, SoCal approach, roger.
And so, in that case, I would transition from nav to heading. I would still be going towards Barry, but guess what I would do at Barry? I would no longer turn to Victor 459. I would continue on a heading of 19 or 2. And that's what I mean by direct 2s or radar vectors. It could be the same direction. You could be moving in the same direction, but what you do when you get to a given waypoint will be different depending on whether or not you're direct 2 or radar vectors. So in IFR, always ask yourself, it's a great exercise, am I currently on a direct 2 or am I radar vector? So right now I'm on radar vectors. I'm heading 140. I'm not going direct to any waypoint. How long will I maintain 140 for? The answer is until I'm told to do otherwise. Or if I lose comms, in which case I will do my what's called Avenue F and AIM for the altitude and lateral navigation, and I'll figure out from there with my craft clearance or with my IFR clearance, what am I expected to do next. But unless that happens, I will maintain 140 until I'm told to do otherwise. That's what radar vectors means. And so keep that in mind. I think it's a great question to ask yourself as an IFR pilot, and you could do it when you're alone in the airplane. Am I currently on a direct to or on radar vectors? Am I direct to, radar vectors? Just that question alone will keep that situational awareness really, really, really high, and there won't be any confusion at any point as far as what am I going to do when I reach a waypoint or when I reach a given place while flying. So I hope that is helpful, direct twos or radar vectors.
Southwest 1904, SoCal approach, Roger.